Hey there, Farm Bureau. Thanks for hanging with us all session long. The General Assembly adjourned sine die on Saturday, February 22nd. Now it's time for everyone's favorite video, the smiley face wrap up.
As a refresher, if you see this, it means that Farm Bureau policy prevailed on the issue. And if you see this, it means that Farm Bureau policy did not prevail on the issue. Hope not to see too many of those faces today, Caitlin.
Starting out strong with a big smiley face, we are proud to report that the Ag BMP cost share program is fully funded for fiscal year 25 and 26, as well as having an initial deposit made for the funding of the program into the next biennium. We are grateful to Governor Youngkin for fully funding the cost share program throughout the entirety of his administration.
Additionally, Caitlin, I thought it was really great the Soil and Water Board was given more flexibility to move unobligated funds at the end of the fiscal year to be redistributed between local soil and water conservation districts, both in and out of the same watershed. This helps all district staff to maintain the confidence of our farmers that they may have access to funding even if their district has obligated their initial allocation.
Jake, as you work with the shortage of large animal vet work group that was a result of legislation that passed in 2024, why don't you tell us a little bit about legislation that passed this year to further support the eradication of the large animal veterinarian shortage in the Commonwealth?
Happy to. As a result of legislation passed during the 2024 General Assembly, the work group under the Board of Vet Medicine and the state veterinarian to address a large animal veterinarian shortage in the Commonwealth had some initial recommendations this year that Farm Bureau supported as pre-session critical issues. Another big smiley face for successful legislation and affiliated budget funding to support the creation of the Large Animal Veterinarian Grant Program to provide grants to increase or stabilize the number of large animal veterinarians in the Commonwealth. $450,000 in fiscal year 2026 was included in the budget to support this program.
Because of your advocacy, we were able to prevent for a second year in a row the eradication of local government authority on the siting of utility-scale solar facilities. Over 1,200 Farm Bureau leaders connected with their legislators to share their concerns over legislation that would have created a one-size-fits-all approach on setbacks, fencing, solar panel height, and visual impacts for solar facilities sited on agriculture, commercial, and industrial zone property. Farm Bureau worked on many bills this session to decrease the pressure imposed by solar on farm and forest lands. Another victory is the passage of legislation allowing local governments the authority to require installation of solar canopies over certain parking lots. Double smiley face.
Another policy victory that was achieved early on this session was the defeat of legislation that would have imposed advanced notification requirements for private and commercial pesticide applicators. Applicators would have been required to submit information to VDACs and certain beekeepers within a 5-mile radius no less than 5 days prior to the application.
And as we have discussed before, data centers were a hot topic this session. While many of the bills that were introduced on the topic were defeated, Farm Bureau is proud to support legislation that is headed to the governor's desk, empowering localities to consider the impacts of these facilities on natural resources such as water, agriculture, parks, registered historic sites, or forest land.
Reflective of new Farm Bureau policy, we were able to support successful legislation that requires retail establishments to have signage educating consumers on over 35 invasive plant species.
Yeah, but Jake, you can't win them all. This year was tough on the labor front. Bills are headed to the governor to gradually increase the minimum wage to $15 an hour by 2027 and eliminate the long-standing farm worker exemption. However, not all hope is lost. We are hopeful that these bills will meet the same fate that they did in 2024 as the governor vetoed them both.
For a second year in a row, legislation failed that would have required the proper labeling of laboratory-grown meat.
Farm Bureau stands in opposition to the interbasin transfer of water. We stood in support of legislation this year that would have prohibited DEQ from issuing a Virginia water protection permit for a surface water withdrawal if more than 6 million gallons of water per day of the withdrawal would have been returned to a different major river basin. Unfortunately, the bill failed.
Well, Caitlin, it sure looks like we've been busy. I can't believe all this happened in just 45 days. Be on the lookout for our complete end-of-session wrap-up that will be a deep dive into all the legislation the GR team tracked this year.
We look forward to catching up with you all soon. If you have any questions on the legislation we referenced today, please do not hesitate to reference the governmental relations staff. We are looking forward to giving updates at our regional policy development meetings and being able to respond to your questions. Talk soon.